My name is Tom. I'm a single man now, but I've been married for 17 years and had another partner for 17. And I find myself sitting here talking about having been abused as a kid. And I didn't even have a clue that was true until 2 years ago. I'm 61 years old. The memories that came to me about 2 years ago did so when I was taking part in an ayahuasca ceremony. I found my way to ayahuasca because of my inquisitiveness, and I had never taken part in any kind of hallucinant drugs when I was younger at all. But I'd read about people that had done LSD and different things and had very positive experiences with it, and I was jealous of that. And there was a number of iterations of decisions about how I would end up there, but I did. I ended up in a ceremony. And my premise basically was, we're all cruising around at about 5,000 feet and we think we know what's going on, and I wanted to cruise at 40,000 feet. So that was the reason I went to the room, and was very intimidated to go. But I did, and I only booked one night because, again, I was quite intimidated. And I had a remarkable evening. It was everything. It just opened me up a little bit. And I started to wonder, yeah, I can see where all these great movies have come from. These people have been playing around with this junk, and now they got some imagination that just I didn't have access to. So I sort of laughed. I thought, yeah, you guys are cheating. Your creativity is born out of something else. So I was so overwhelmed and happy that I had taken part in that ceremony that I asked if I could attend a second night. And they made room for me. It was a horrifically difficult night. And I had a difficult time staying in the room for the ceremony. But somebody there was very, very gracious and worked with me and stayed with me and wouldn't leave me alone. I think she knew something was coming. All I knew was I felt awful. And towards the end of the evening, this image showed up where it was basically, for me, a black screen, if you will, with a little bit of light in the center. And it was like I was moving down this tunnel. And as I looked through and realized, and this image got bigger and bigger, it was coming towards me or I was moving towards it, whichever. I realized it was in a barn. And I could see two figures further on down, and there was some straw and there was some stuff that you would find in a barn. And as I got closer and closer and closer, it was very clear that what was happening between these two people was sexual. It was two men. And I was wondering, as I'm in this vision, if you will, and I'm moving towards, why am I seeing this? What is this? And I continue to move closer. The image grows bigger as if it's on screen. And then the perpetrator gets bigger, the victim gets smaller, and they both turn and look at me, and it's me. And immediately I knew where I was. There's a barn next door to where I grew up, and a farm and a family. And all my life I've wanted to ask my parents, did something happen in that barn? Like, what happened there? I had this feeling that something bad had happened, that somebody had gotten hurt, and that it was my fault. And that's why I never asked them, because I knew it was my fault. And one other highly evident part of my fear all these years, why I never asked, was somebody's face was pushed up against straw. And there I was in this vision. But I had been haunted by this place all my life. Even right then, right there in the ceremony, I realized a sense of relief, even in ceremony. Because I realized nobody's ever going to do that to me again. I don't need to be afraid. Right then, right there, I felt better. Even as I felt terrible with this concoction in me. The woman running the ceremony leaned down. She whispered in my ear, "Did you see that?" I went, "Yeah." She said, "I got to go now." And she went and worked with other people. So I was left to lay there on my own for a few hours until sunrise. And I knew what I had seen was me because I had a place to attach this to. So as the sun rose the next day, it was just more real, not less. And of course, I was just stunned. Not so much that it had happened, but that I had been betrayed my own memory for all these years. How in the world can I block something out so nasty? I actually hid from myself all these years. I cannot comprehend. And we can all read about it and we hear it. But now it's me. 2 days before this, if you said, "Tom, have you ever been abused?" I would have said, "No." I had no idea, consciously. The next few days, I just felt great because I realized I didn't need to be afraid anymore. I'd been afraid every friggin' day of my life. I've given so much energy into being fearful. No, I didn't need to do that. And I was just so relieved. After a little while, I had this feeling that I wasn't done, that the story wasn't complete. Taking part in the ceremony was the most honest thing I'd ever done in my life. So I returned. And I've taken part in ceremony fairly consistently, off and on, for the last few years, 2 years. And it showed me more. I don't want this interview to be about ayahuasca per se, but it works in a certain way and it's part of the story. And I swear that I got the easiest to digest story first. And then as we went further along, the stories got tougher. And damned if I didn't get younger. I've been asked, because I've recognized these, or returned to these memories through a ceremony like I speak about, how do you know it's real? And it's a valid question. I know it's real because the pains are real.